All right. Okay, so I think it's recording.
Okay.
And let me double check here.
If you give me permission, I'll start recording here too.
All right. There you go.
Okay, done.
All right. So is my cursor moving for you?
Yes, it is.
Okay, perfect. All right, web design. Have you had? I think you had APP 242. Is that correct?
Yes, with you.
Yes. Just last mod, I think.
Right.
Yep. Okay. I want to be clear on that. How did that go for you?
It was rough doing it, but I managed to get through get through it.
Awesome.
That chapter 6 was very difficult because it seems like some of the stuff they had already pre-done, but you didn't know that it was pre-done, and you had to work through to try and figure out what they were doing.
Yeah. It's a kind of a catch-22 when they do stuff for you. They try to do that to help facilitate getting it done, but then it's confusing because you didn't create it to begin with.
Right, and it takes more time trying to figure out where they're at that point.
Yeah, that's the big debate, whether or not you start from scratch to teach somebody or you take them at a certain point and then go from there. This class, frankly, I think it would be nice if this class came before the other one, but we actually don't have any control over that. I think do you have an associate's, are you in the associate's program?
I believe I'm supposed to be in the bachelor program.
Oh, okay.
No, what happened was last December or November, I was supposed to take the DES241, and my computer completely shut down on me. Matter of fact, they sent it back in, and they sent me a new computer because there was nothing could be done with it. Nothing could be salvaged. I have a backup computer, and unfortunately, it got a virus that shut it down, and I had put it in the shop at the same time.
And what kind of computer are you working with now?
I'm working with the Mac.
Okay.
But I also have a PC if I need to use it.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of times what I'll do, like with that book for chapter 6, I'll put it up on the PC. That way I can go straight down that while working on the Mac. That way I can see what the lessons call for.
Sure. If you ever don't have two monitors, I'll show you how to work with desktops. And here on the screen, if you take your trackpad and put all 4 fingers on the trackpad and move up, it ends up displaying. Can you just see 2 little windows up at the top? Is that what you see right now?
No, I do not. I still see your main screen. I know what you're talking about, but it didn't seem to work on mine when I tried it.
Oh, let's see. The main screen is still there. Right?
Yeah, your main screen.
But oh, it says it's pause. Bring your shared window to front is what it says. Let's see. Now what do you see?
Right now I see a mountain with I would say probably an evening sky behind it.
Okay, and how about now?
I see the dashboard, Desktop 1, desktop 2.
So is that over here?
It's up toward the top.
Yeah. Can you see my mouse?
Yes, I see your mouse moving.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so this is the result of me doing 4 fingers and pushing up.
Yeah, I've tried that on mine, but for some reason it doesn't lock in like that.
I think I'd like to make sure you know how to do this. So let me show you. Once it's done, you can bring up different windows. And so what I do is I copy and paste this. Let's see. I need to bring up a new window. And then over there, paste, go right to that textbook. And then I cancel out of this one.
Yeah, I have done it where I have them just offset. That way I can hit each one.
Yeah, if I maximize it, then I can use a control left arrow, right arrow,
yeah,
and go back and forth. Now, do you see it going?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Now, did you say that it doesn't work on your computer?
As far as the pushing it up doesn't seem to do it. I'll have to try the other and see how that'll work.
Let's see. Okay. All right. Let's look at the course intro. This course is on designing websites with creative interfaces, strong graphic images, functional site organization, and logical navigation. So I think you probably understand a little bit about these words: creative interfaces, strong graphic images, functional site organization, and logical navigation. What comes to your mind when you think of a functional site organization?
It means that the site itself is organized in a manner where you have navigation to it, whether it could be a button or possibly a word itself, which will move you to the whatever page it is that you need to go to.
Good. And when you create different web pages, obviously you want to be able to navigate to them. So
right.
That's the logical navigation right here. Yeah, I thought I had recordings, but I don't. I thought I had some recordings for this class, but I haven't taught. I haven't taught this class since we moved to this new format of this system. I've been teaching APP 101.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So the objectives of the course are here, and it's just a standard outline.
Right. I always go through it first.
Yeah. Now this one is just 1,000 points for this class because it appears that we don't have data checkpoints.
Right.
I'll post announcements. Did you get this email? Was this an email that came to you, or?
Yes, I got both.
Okay, good. And now, can you test clicking on this link? In fact, on the home page, would you try clicking on this link? I want to make sure that brings up the textbook for you. Either click on this image here or click on the link.
Let's see. It's not letting me do it. There we go. Let's see what we got here. Now it just moves me over.
Nothing comes up?
No, and there we go.
Oh, good.
I didn't want to do it on the escape, and I finally got it to work on there. All right. And you want me to check and see if the book comes up, right?
Yes, please.
Yes, it does.
Oh, good. All right, that's good. So the difference in this class and the other class, this class gets into more detail on the design, and it's much more like the real industry of creating and designing a website. The other one, we really were looking at the mechanics of doing Dreamweaver. So in this class, we talk about usability, and usability is just the concept of how easily can you come to the website, find the information you need, navigate around, and do whatever business you come to the website to do. How usable is it? Is it well thought out in its design? And this not only faces or talks about page layout, but it also focuses on just the whole website layout. This is a different concept, accessibility. This sounds like usability, but it actually is for people who might not, who are blind, or that this has to do with making sites accessible to those who don't have the ability to see or hear, for example. Then we're going to talk about web design requirements, and then a creative brief. So the textbooks that are the chapters that we focus on. Let's make sure that. See if I can.
That's chapter 3 and 4 for this week. I've read chapter 3. I'm partway through chapter 4 right now.
Okay, good. Now, I wanted to point something out here, and this section right here actually comes from the requirements. By the way, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. This section here is taken from the requirements of the Adobe certifications. Let's see here. This would be the Adobe Dreamweaver track. And then I want to get to where it talks about the exam guide and the objectives of the exam.
Right.
Because let me see if I can search on objectives. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
The link. In fact, what I think I'll do is I'll just put in here a link to that. That way you can access it too.
Right. Thank you.
If you press refresh, you'll have the change. Now, the Adobe Dreamweaver exam, that's a certification exam, and we don't administer that exam. It's administered by a third-party company.
Mm-hmm.
It costs a little bit of money and so on. But I just wanted to point out the parallel between this exam, the objectives of this exam and our course. It's right here. You can see setting project requirements. This section right here is what makes up these requirements right here.
Yeah.
Setting project requirements. So this week, we'll focus on that. Next week, we'll focus on this section. And the week
Okay.
after that, we'll focus on this section here. This here. I think that's how we've done it. Let me pause the recording and just make sure I think it's
Okay.
1, 2, 3. And I actually wrote this curriculum myself. It's been a while since I've looked at the course objectives. So
That happens.
pull them from right there, and I want to confirm. Let's see. And these setting project requirements, internal knowledge. Yeah, there it is, right there. Let's see, message journal, and yeah, so that's section 2, week 2.
Mm-hmm.
Then let's look at week 3 really quickly here. This other here is APP 242 covers these.
Mm-hmm.
So DES241 does the first 3, and then APP 242 does the last 3. So had your computer worked for you, you would have been able to have done them in the proper order, where you would have done this one last year, was it, when your computer broke?
Yeah. The computer quit completely. And when they they said, "Oh, that can't happen." But when they finally got it there, they found out it wouldn't even take a charge.
So it wasn't just the adapter.
Had gone bad on it.
It wasn't the adapter. It was the whole computer.
The whole computer. I'd had trouble with it before. It'd been in before. It liked to change screens on its own. You go to clock off of something, and it would put it back on, doing all kinds of things. And finally got to the point where it's going to small screen, large screen, small screen on its own very quickly. So I shut it down immediately, waited about a half an hour, went to turn it back on, and absolutely nothing. And then it took them 3.5 months to get around to letting me know where to send it.
Oh, that's bad.
Well, that happens. Oh, by the way, if you ever have to send one, FedEx has a box that they use for your laptop computers. They run $17 for the box, but it really does a good job of storing it.
That's good tip.
Yeah, I mean it's it's all padded and everything else. You got sections you can take out if it's a larger computer than what you'd normally have in there. So that works real good.
And this was a Mac that had gone bad?
Yes, Mac Lion. Not even the hard drive in it went bad. Everything.
Yeah. So did you lose files?
I lost everything that I had done up to that point.
Oh, that's too bad.
It happens. I'm not going to worry about it.
Do you have a method for backing up your files now?
I use a flash drive for that.
Okay.
It's just I hadn't gotten around to doing that completely. So that happens. It also makes me work harder to rebuild it.
So this section here comes right from that part 1 of that certification.
Right.
And what you'll find is that this section also is shared among other let's see if it's shared by other applications.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, the Adobe Flash has, if you look at the Flash objectives here, you'll find that the same one starts with the same project requirements. And so the common thread here is that the process of planning your project is the same between whether you're doing it in Dreamweaver or whether you're doing it in Adobe Flash and so on. It's a shared skill.
I understand that.
Of doing the project requirements. And what I've done is I've hyperlinked some of these terms to go.
I've already looked at them.
Well, good. Wikipedia.
I see a hyperlink. I've got to know what it's about. So I get into it.
All right, good. So the creative brief, how would you describe the creative brief? If someone were to ask you, what's a creative brief for? What would you answer?
Creative brief is a contract in itself. It's a contract between yourself and your client, which lays out all the details of the contract, such as due dates, what is required, things that they need to have, who's your target audience, and how do they view that target audience, which is also important.
Exactly.
Because they may have a completely different concept of their target audience than you do. So you really need to know that. Otherwise, you can end up going all in the wrong way.
Yeah, it's. I really like your usage of the word contract. I agree.
Well, I spent a number of years actually in prison. Something I didn't do, but that doesn't matter. I still ended up spending time there. And I spent about 6 years writing legal briefs, which are not that much different. And the APA format is almost identical.
Interesting.
To what the courts require.
You wrote legal briefs. That's pretty interesting. I know what those are.
Yeah, I've written a few of them. I was able to help other people to get out of prison, but I couldn't get anywhere myself.
Wow. Wow, that's a story. We'll have to talk more about that. I'm interested to understand.
I just as soon forget that whole period. But during that period, which was for 14 years, and in the late 90s, they handed me a box full of all kinds of papers. Turned out to be all the equipment that they had at the prison. And they go, "You take charge of this." Well, I found a book on Windows, what is it? Can't think of the name of the program. At any rate, I ended up building an entire program for them so they handle it all.
Now, was it for a database or a spreadsheet, or do you remember?
Well, it was Access is what I used.
That's exactly what I wondered.
So I built the whole thing, set it up with the buttons and everything else. As soon as I had it all, everything in there, they took it from me and gave it to somebody else. But I also found it interesting that the program that the state had kept collapsing. So they sent copies of what I had to all the other prisons to use because it worked.
That's cool. That's a great story.
Yeah, and by the way, the book that I was using I had no idea what to do with it, except that I knew that that's where it was needed. The book itself was 5 years old.
Oh, that you had obtained?
Yeah. It was 5 years old at the time. In other words, everything had been updated since that, and I didn't know about any of the updates, but I still managed to do it, put it together. And I do believe in readability. They had me working as a clerk. One project that they had was for a new prison, and a friend of mine was trying to do up the list of materials to being sent there. I took a look at it and I go, "That's terrible." So I took 1 page of it, rewrote it my way, handed it to my boss, and he goes, "That's the way I want it." I had everything broken down, not only to where when they would load a truck, told them what they needed on that specific truck, the order it had to go on, what buildings it was going in when it got to the site. And it was easy to read.
Wow. Wow. And that was a document that you rewrote, or that was the Access application, what it could do?
That was a document.
Okay.
I was working as a clerk.
Gotcha.
The thing that was funny on that job is whenever one of the supervisors needed a letter written, everyone kind of cringed and hid. I always ended up doing all the letters.
How about that? That's cool. Well, you're dead right about the fact that it's contract. It literally is. It's
it is
a way for you to be really clear about what needs to be on there. And these other resources are just available. You probably have clicked on all of those links. The one I want to point out is this one here, this web accessibility, and here. And that's those are the websites that are dedicated towards explaining what this term, how it
right. I noticed that
to doing web design. If you have a government website, the governments are bound by law to abide by certain this initiative.
Right, I saw that.
Yeah, so that's one thing you need to know. Regular companies aren't bound by law to abide by the principles that are taught within this initiative, but governments, yes.
Well, I found in the past it's always a good idea for any company to abide by them, because if they get a contract, a government contract, then they have to change everything, so it would abide by it.
Good point. Now, here with the discussion, I think you've already posted, and here's Sheila's posting here. So obviously you get full credit if you post and then reply to Sheila.
Oh, I will.
So This is a PDF which is actually, you can fill it out and save it, which is kind of cool. But this it's a really nice breakdown of the conversation that you have when you are working with your client.
Right.
And this ends up becoming the creative brief.
Oh, by the way, on one of the sites that I found, they recommended for every job that you set up a folder, and you actually have that on the outside of the folder with a sheet where you can keep track of the date that things have been accomplished and signatures.
Oh, I like that idea. I guess the assignment jumps right into edit mode, so let me switch to student view so that doesn't happen. So this is just a creative brief. Do you have a, are you thinking of doing it for your personal portfolio? You really aren't bound to do a personal, the creative brief for personal portfolio. If you want, and you know of a business that you might want to do it for, that's fine too.
I'll probably do it for personal. I got to put one together anyway.
Yeah, I looked at this and was amazed at the quality of this.
Uh-huh.
There's the site design. This is a personal portfolio.
Right.
Your own logo. Interactive user interface. So it's pretty interesting because they broke it out into using different screens.
Right. I wasn't sure if you wanted us to do that part or not.
Well, that's definitely going over and above the assignment, because the assignment really is just doing that PDF. But let me point out a website called Balsamic, and this is for mock-ups.
Uh-huh.
Where you can create some designs of your website. So it's kind of cool. You just like drag and drop.
Right.
I think that's what the person did. Anyway, you're welcome to use that. It's a pretty cool.
Okay.
I think that's what they used for this and possibly this. You can kind of see this design of a browser here.
Right.
The mock-up, it looks very similar to that. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Gesundheit.
Now, figuring out the user interface, it helps to know what you have begun to learn about CSS and the design, the cascading style sheets.
Right.
There's also interaction that has to do with JavaScript, and there are JavaScript libraries that can be used, and understanding the behavior of a JavaScript library or framework, for lack of a better word, knowing these behaviors helps you actually, in the long run, of defining your user interface, because these are interactive and you embed them inside your website, and it ends up impacting the whole user experience.
Right.
And so they're dynamic. And I've had experience personally with jQuery, and these are different. And what they are just a bunch of code that you can embed through a link in your HTML file, and it brings it in dynamically. The code is brought in, and then that impacts your whole website and the whole web experience. So it's one thing to draw a picture of your website. It's another thing to draw a picture of your website. It's another thing to understand interactivity.
Right.
Two different things. So so this here, obviously you cannot demonstrate interactivity with a picture, but you can describe it. So
Exactly.
That would be something that you could consider in your creative brief. Right. Let's go back to the template that we can download.
Okay.
I actually like the sample better than that template.
Yeah, I was noticing that. The samples seem to be a lot better. The others seem to be more toward the layout, which would be used for the portfolio.
Yeah, I think I'm going to remove these because I prefer the other one, and this is distracting, I think. So. It's just a little bit distracting. So the sample, I think, is excellent. So this one correlates, I think this one correlates more than, more readily to the sample that is there. Look at here. So I think use those two. Use this as a guide, and then use this other one as the form instead of that other. I like this one a lot better.
Now you want us to write an explanation of each thing that goes in there, right?
as the assignment, and this one here, the assignment. Now, are you referring to the discussion post or the assignment?
The assignment itself.
Okay. Now, the assignment really is for you to take that template, that form, the questionnaire, and fill it out in describing your personal portfolio website. So use the template. I'm going to say instead, use the questionnaire in the discussion. Include 30% in each section. So this would be applicable to your choice of doing a web portfolio.
Okay.
So it'll already be in a PDF form. I'm pretty sure that we can just save it. So let's try it out. PDF. All right, so go back to the questionnaire. Download that. Open it up.
Yes, you can fill it in. I was checking that out earlier.
Yeah, and you can save it too.
Right.
I think that's pretty cool. Now, I thought you could save it with content, but maybe I'm not opening up the right one. All right, that time it's saved. I think if you open it up from the drive, it doesn't go into the browser, because the other one is when it goes into the browser. I think that the embedded PDF viewer in here, I don't think is allowing us to save this.
I don't know. I haven't tried. Sure what would happen yet.
Well, that one, let's see. I want to make sure that if I start typing it in the being viewed by the browser, that it will let me save it. And I'm going to guess it's not going to, it won't save the words here. We'll see. Yeah, it's kind of interesting that it thinks it's JR Design.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to there, yeah, it's kind of crazy because I saved it, but it's got the old other name that I have in there. Anyways, you'll need to just do it, click on it from here, because in the browser you can't trust it. Oops, so that's the and the assessment is where we implement, and I think that the portfolio example has it does have it. It has it built right into it. So you remember how they had the site map and the wireframe of the various pages?
Right.
They combine their assessment with their assignment. You're welcome to do that if you choose. So with that balsamic, there we go. There's the site map. This is leftover. It's kind of cool. It knew that I had this. So it's a site map. This is where you type in the text and right. It's kind of cool. They have this. That's kind of nice. I just click down here and it automatically did it. So you're welcome to use that for this.
Okay.
For that part, the wireframe or the site map, and the wireframe would be just like what we had a moment ago, where you're
right.
That. I'll just put a link in here for you.
Okay.
So now, when you are in it, you can click on it and go right to a demo. Okay. All right. Well, do you have any questions for me?
No, not at this point. I can see the amount of work I've got to do yet.
All right.
At least I've got it started.
Good. So if you get stuck or anything, you can either ping me or Tara. Tara is our
Yeah, I saw that.
yeah, she's our learning coach, and she's great. All right. Well, I'm good for now. So let me know if you get stuck in anything, and I will. Oh yeah, you already got the recording, so you're good.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and post this for the other student.
Okay. The other thing I've done is I started trying to put the whole thing together using InDesign, so I know what it's going to look like.
Very good. That's what that's for, actually.
Yeah. Now, I know that that can be moved then to Dreamweaver, but I don't know how you do that part.
Let's see. I wonder if I got on here. I haven't downloaded it. Did that come with your CS6 license? InDesign? Or did you buy that separately?
It came with it.
Oh.
I think it was last summer we actually had a course in InDesign.
Oh wow.
We went from Illustrator to Photoshop to InDesign. And then after that, we did Flash.
All in the same class, or that was a separate class?
Each one of those is a second mod.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, InDesign. I didn't know that we were teaching that class. I haven't taught that one.
It's an interesting program to work with.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see how our courses change and evolve with technology and the other releases of CS Creative Suite. I can't wait for us to get into the Creative Cloud.
Yeah, that should be interesting when we do that. The other thing which is going to be interesting, which I read about, is that in about a year or 2 years, they're supposed to actually start releasing Ingram computers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now, I know a little bit about them because I know that the first one was built around 1953.
Uh-huh.
And they started teaching it, and you have to teach everything to it.
All right.
It's like you'd build a pyramid. You'd actually have to teach it where gravity says it has to be. But the guy started teaching it chess, and it got to the point where it was beating all the experts. It learns.
That's cool.
So I don't know what's going to happen when they get into it. It should be interesting because I understand they've put some safeguards on there, so it doesn't get too smart.
Yeah, cross your fingers. Now, is it Ingram spelled I-N-G-R-A-M?
I don't remember. I think so. It's designed after the Ingram design in the brain.
Okay, good. Ingram design.
Yeah. You know, the way the neurons work in the brain works on that same basic principle.
Ingram. Neural network.
Mm-hmm.
Oops.
I haven't had a chance to read too much about what's going on now, but I do remember what they were doing previously.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm ready to call it a night. How about you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You have a good evening now.
Yeah, I guess it's 8:30 your time, 9:30 my time. Thank you very much for showing up, and I'll be staying in touch via email.
Okay, let me know when you want to get together again.
Okay, sounds good.
Bye now.
Bye.